This is The Baseline, discussing the hot button topics of the NBA.
Welcome, everybody. You're tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw, discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. U.S. Men's Basketball Olympics underway. But the bigger topic of conversation is one in which I know my brother from another mother is ready to discuss this at length. And more importantly, man, a great show lined up for you and yours as we start to end things off pretty nicely with the summer being the way that it is. Things continuing to heat up here in the association. And in order to talk about all the things happening in the NBA, you know I got to do it. My right-hand man, 50 grand NBA aficionado, Dime contributor, writer for one of the illest websites, www.shawsports.net. Big Kahuna PNC, my brother, Mr. Warren Shaw, repping out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Holla back at me, Mr. Shaw. Can you believe A-Rod is hanging up the cleats, man?
I can, man. He's had an awful season. And, he's one of those players who had his time, had an amazing career. But it is kind of a little bit shocking, to see it go the way that it has for him in the New York Yankees. But nevertheless, salute to all defense listeners of the NBA Baseline. And thank you for tuning in. As you see, we have a lot to discuss. Even delving into the world of baseball a little bit, as the NBA season is a couple months away, obviously, and the dog days of summer are here upon us. But we still have a lot of great content to get into. And as always, we'll jump right in.
No, most definitely, brother. Oh, but listen, hey, anybody who wants to get the goods on things being discussed in Major League Baseball, be sure to go to www.shawsports.net. Big shout out to my man, Big Mo Johnson, giving the latest and things happening in MLB. The boys this summer are still playing as these teams continue to make their push to the postseason. But we talk NBA basketball, and we have a great show lined up for you and yours. In a little bit, we will have the arena DJ for the Golden State Warriors, DJ D Sharp. He'll be joining on with us to discuss the Golden State Warriors and how the life of a DJ is impacting the NBA culture, the NBA scene. In a little bit, too, we'll also discuss the big contract extension. Russell Westbrook, the Maverick, he decides to keep it all OKC. We'll discuss how important of an impact this is in this modern NBA climate, as you want to speak. And of course, we got our coveted Coast to Coast, where we discuss all the news happening in the association. Great show lined up for you and yours, and we continue to support and continue to love and support for the Baseline NBA podcast. Be sure to get at my man Shaw at Shaw Sports NBA, or get at me at GameFace Lee. The show's Twitter handle at NBA Baseline. Make sure that you hit us up on the Twitter, on Facebook. We're available on all the major platforms: iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, Microsoft TuneIn. Also available on Google Music and the Roku channel. So be sure to download any one of these platforms, allowing us to be your major resource discussing all things in the NBA. For those who are getting themselves geared up for the NBA season that is upon us very quickly, how would you like to get all of your favorite NBA teams merchandise delivered straight to your doorstep? Be sure to check out fanessentials.net. Now, all you need to do is to subscribe, pick your team, and every month you'll get the team's gear shipped right to your front door. They find the sports gear so you don't have to. Each fan box comes packed with some amazing gear, makes a great gift idea for any sports fan. Prices start at just $14.99 and $34.99. So be sure to visit fanessentials.net. Use the promo code BASELINE at the checkout for 30% off on your first month. Once again, if you put Baseline in at the checkout, you'll get 30% off your first month. So be sure to visit fanessentials.net to get all the essentials you need to get you prepared for the upcoming NBA season. You know how we do, and you know how we like to set it off. It's time now for the breakdown.
Time to break it
down to the bone gristle.
Time now for the breakdown. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw of the Baseline NBA podcast. And listen, we knew that one end of the pendulum had been swung with Kevin Durant making the crazy decision that shook up the NBA the earlier part of this summer when he decided to sign with the Golden State Warriors. But I'm sure the even bigger question would be, can Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder figure out a way to keep Russell Westbrook? And while all the murmurs and the rumors that are being thrown out there is that Westbrook has no intention of signing a contract extension, is going to play this season out and make himself an available free agent, here he comes throwing out some, completely just going against the grain of thought and theory amongst us NBA pundits and deciding to sign a contract extension, 3 years, $85 million with an out clause, I believe, for the 2018-2019 season. Shaw, I got to tell you, man, it is absolutely I don't care. There is no crystal ball for any NBA player right now that's going to be able to properly predict the decision making that's happening so far.
No, man, we have no idea what's happening, and anybody who tells you that they know is completely out of whack.
Cleo is passed on, right? Cleo is passed on, so it's done.
No.
It's a wrap. No one is gonna come and listen. No one is pulling the wool over my eyes anymore. Nobody know this. When Cleo is not here, we don't know anything about the NBA as we see it.
No, it's just an insane thing to consider right now when you look at it, because we're just a few weeks removed from there's no way he'll re-sign, seeing what Durant did and all the money that'll be available to him and all the options, and will OKC even really be able to be competitive? And he comes out a couple of weeks later and is like, nah, this is where I want to be. It's where my heart is. I love this place. They've shown me the respect, since I was 18, 19 years old. I've grown up here. And now he's going to be staying at least for the next couple of seasons, and kind of ending all speculation about what the OKC Thunder need to do. Going to put them right in the running for a very, very loaded free agent class going into next season. Traditionally, they haven't been able to get free agents to come there. They've got guys there via trade and obviously through the draft. But maybe this changes that mantra, if you will. And Russell Westbrook staying in OKC is just making teams like the Boston Celtics and LA Lakers eat their hearts out, because they have no chance of getting at that guy right now. And I salute Westbrook for his decision and wanting to stay there and taking on the whole mantra of the legacy and being the guy. No longer is he 1A or 1B. He is number one, numero uno, no hands down, nothing to be questioned. And I can't wait to see what he does with it going into next season.
There's so many angles that we can attack this from, and I don't even think that we'll have enough time, because you know how we like to do. We go on our tangents specifically to attack every angle that we possibly can and cover as much as we can. But the first thing that I want to say about what Westbrook has done is he has completely shook the foundation of where the NBA was, frighteningly trending to. You and I, we talk about it. We tend to be old school heads, and we're about that era where the superstars who, if you sign with a team, you shouldn't feel like you have to go and play with another superstar to win a championship. That superstar, other stars should come play for you. And it doesn't matter which NBA organization you're playing for, unless you're something like Donald Sterling, where, the guy's too cheap to spend money. All of these other NBA owners would throw out the Brinks truck if it meant getting a Kevin Durant, a Russell Westbrook, a Carmelo Anthony, a LeBron James. So I applaud Russell Westbrook for taking the onus, and maybe it makes us question a little bit more about how intelligent of a basketball player he is. We can put this any way we want about it being a basketball decision, but this is exactly who we thought Russell Westbrook was. We thought Russell Westbrook was the kind of guy, he's like, I believe that I'm one of the best players in the game of basketball. And whether I'm playing with two other great players or I'm on my own, I'm going to show you that I am the best player in basketball. And that's not a knock on the decision that Kevin Durant made. It's more of an accolade to us actually saying, you know what? Let's stop trying to figure out who Russell Westbrook has been. He is who he is, and he's always been this way. And this is why it's going to make this for a hell of an NBA season.
Yeah, man, loyalty is at the heart of everything he's done, and you can never accuse Westbrook of not trying hard and not playing hard and not wanting to be the guy. He's never shied away from that moment, and some people criticize him many a times for thinking that he was, quote unquote, Durant's equal, if you will. But now he's a guy who stays, and it is ironic when it comes down to it, because I don't think we'd ever seen a situation or could have envisioned a situation where Westbrook would really kind of be the hero, if you will, and Durant would be the villain. And I think that is something that's going to take some time to really try to play itself out. And, I don't think people hate Kevin Durant per se, but I think there's going to be a lot more love for Westbrook than there ever has been going into next season. And there's going to be a lot more hate than there ever has been for Durant going into next season. That's what I mean by saying that. So I just never thought we'd be in this situation. But again, credit Sam Presti, the Oklahoma City Thunder organization, and their fans for creating an environment where Westbrook wanted to return to, right now, and not having to wait about it. And they said as much in this press conference. when you know what you want to do, why do you have to wait? He knew he wanted to be there, and he signed the deal. He's going to be there for at least till 2018. And that's great for this Oklahoma City Thunder organization for everything that they're trying to do.
You're tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. Our segment of the breakdown is we're discussing the contract extension. Russell Westbrook staying with the Oklahoma City Thunder at least for 2 more years, but a 3-year deal at $85 million. And look, I'm going to keep it 100 as well on the same level. Credit to the Oklahoma City fans. One of the interesting things that I think tends to happen at times, and we have a great guest on who talks about, who's going to help us get more in depth about, the fandom and the atmosphere and, what's that like being the facilitator for, one of the craziest crowds in the NBA with DJ D Sharp joining us in a little bit. But one of the important things I think that has to be looked at is the Oklahoma City Thunder fans could have sat there and sulked and I mean, they had their moments where they burnt the Durant jerseys, but for the most part, it felt like, and the vibe felt like, we need to move on from this. We have one other player here of as equal, if not the most importance, that we have to prioritize and make him feel like he has to be here. And they did everything that was necessary, I think, to show Russell Westbrook that. Now, with that being said, I know this sounds crazy, Shaw. It's been a while since I've came up with them conspiracy theories. And you said it yourself earlier when the Oklahoma City Thunder made that trade with the Magic to get Victor Oladipo. Okay? You bought into the Thunder will be a better basketball team having Oladipo as their 1-2 combination with Westbrook. And if Durant signs, would definitely catapult them to be at least the second best team to possibly the Golden State Warriors or maybe the San Antonio Spurs, depending on what would have happened to the Warriors had they not signed Kevin Durant. My thing is this. If we looked at it from that perspective, this may actually be a better situation for the Oklahoma City Thunder with the combination of Westbrook and Oladipo. And I believe if Oladipo is the player that we've expected him to be when he got drafted, that will be one of the most lethal backcourt combinations in the NBA for the next few years. And with whatever pieces Presti can put around them, they could easily find themselves playing in an NBA Finals a lot sooner than I think people are going to give them credit for.
Well, I like that you're coming around on the Oladipo trade, if you will, per se.
But this is only predicated because Durant is not there, because I've said the Durant-Westbrook combination is only so good to a certain point. And I think that unless they figured it out, and I don't know if they would have ever figured it out, that it would be better that they part ways and do what they got to do for whatever teams that they're going to do it with. This combination, however, I can buy into and I can believe in. I don't see them getting in each other's way the same way that I felt like Westbrook and Durant did.
Well, and we'll have to see. I mean, because Oladipo still does need the ball. He's going to have to learn to play better off the ball. And Westbrook is going to be very dominant, especially going to next season. I can't imagine, what his PER is going to be in the course of the 2016-17 season. But nevertheless, Oladipo and Westbrook, part of them even re-signing is they were already working out together this summer. Like it was rumored that they were out in LA, and Coach Donovan was out there with them and talking and trying to build their chemistry and build his relationship with Oladipo, who's obviously going to be a new player to his team. That those two guys understand that, hey, they have to play well together for this team to succeed, and they have to play off of each other for this team to succeed. It does create an interesting hole, though, at the 3 position, because now, where I was excited for the opportunity for Oladipo to start and to Robertson to come off the bench, Robertson might now be thrust back into that starting role as a small forward in the hole that Durant has left. Unless you think Ilyasova can play the 3, which I think he's more of a stretch for at this stage of his career. I still feel like the 3 position is something that they're going to have to figure out to some degree.
So you don't think Sabonis can play the 3 position?
No. I think he's definitely more of a 4 and maybe even some 5 to some degree. I don't think he's ready he can be quick enough to guard some of those 3s out there, has that agility and mobility. I mean, if I'm thinking that of Ilyasova, there's no way I think Sabonis should be able to do that. But nevertheless, it really is going to be about what Russ and Victor bring to their respective team, and how those 2 guys really play off each other and how they get others involved too. Ennis Cantor is obviously going to play a big role for them, but the key to this is really that Westbrook has decided that he wants to be there, and I think he showed that even earlier on by starting early on, working out with Oladipo over the summer.
Yeah, definitely. And another interesting point is, And big up to Zach Harper from CBS Sports. He wrote the story discussing, the situation with regarding the contract extension. But the point of his emphasis in his article was the fact that Billy Donovan and Russell Westbrook did not discuss anything regarding his contract situation through the course of everything so far this offseason. Everything that Billy Donovan's focus and attention has been with this upcoming season has really been more basketball related, which in Zach Harper's column in his article, he's emphasizing it focuses on the fact that there is a bond, a serious bond between Donovan and Westbrook, which will bode very well when it comes to that cohesiveness that the Thunder is going to need with the transitioning of all these new players now, where they're going to be situated and what kind of offense now is going to be built around Westbrook. I think that is tantamount. And again, I just want to applaud Zach Harper for bringing that to light, as where most of the conversation has been about the loyalty factor for Westbrook. Let's talk about the bond that Westbrook is really trying to build with Billy Donovan, which could help accelerate the process about the Thunder being a formidable basketball team for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think those are all great points. I think it just goes in kind of the fabric of what this team and what this organization is about. We are outsiders for the most part. I've never had an opportunity to visit the Oklahoma City area and attend a game there. But for all reports that they are pretty much a class organization, from Presti all the way down, and very similar to the gentleman that we're going to talk to a little bit later on, and with the Golden State Warriors and their organization, just people who just know what they're doing and know how to do things the right way. And they are, for lack of a better phrase, they are in tune with people's the raw sense of emotion and the things that really make people work. Not just yes, it's a business, but they understand what it takes to make a business successful from the personnel standpoint, and they really work hard to create those relationships and those bonds that make teams and organizations successful. And I think what you said there with Donovan and Westbrook, it all stems down from Presti all the way down to the rest of the organization. That this is a team that really knows what it takes to stay together, especially going through some of the things that they've gone through, off the court, if you will, with the tornadoes and some of the other natural disasters that have happened in that area. They've all kind of glued together and stood behind this Thunder organization and team to be the community that they needed to be in the times of need.
You tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. Our segment of the breakdown discussing the contract extension. Russell Westbrook staying with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shaw, you talked a little bit earlier about how there may be a need, a void filled for the Oklahoma City Thunder at the 3 position. Conspiracy theory here. Lance Stevenson? Maybe?
Lance Stevenson, Josh Smith, only 2 guys available really that can play the 3, so it's possible.
Crazy. I mean, crazy is what crazy does, right? You know what I'm saying?
But Lance he's so enigmatic. It's just it's weird. That would be kind of an odd fit, I think, for them.
But Lance can make him dance, man. Lance can make them dance. No,
can you just imagine Lance and Russ?
Oh my God,
those streaming matches.
Oh my God, the timeouts. The cameras would have to be focused on the timeouts. I would just listen. Forget all of the other stuff. Just focus at the bench and the timeouts.
I'm a little uncomfortable right now just thinking about it, so I'm gonna move on. And yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Oh, OKC Thunder ain't about that life with Lance being on that team, man.
That's tough. That's tough.
All right, Shaw. So all focus and attention now on Russell Westbrook. What does this now say about the rest of the team and their perception of Russell Westbrook and him making this decision earlier rather than later, and even not allowing this to carry itself through the course of an NBA season, like most players who are looking for contract extension or who are more so trying to embrace the idea about being a part of the free agency process? What does this do for the players that are going to be playing next to Russell Westbrook?
Well, unequivocally, they understand that he wants to be there, so they don't have to worry about those, like you said, those questions surfacing throughout the season, and they can just focus on playing basketball and being under his leadership, if you will. And he's proven that he can be an effective leader. Yes, he'll yell and scream, but he's also going to pat you on the back, and give you props when you do the right thing. And he doesn't shy away from his own mistakes. And I think everybody wants to look up to a leader like that. So as much as has been said about Russell Westbrook over the years, he has matured into a great basketball player and a magnificent leader and a great humanitarian, even off the court, if you will. But I think when it comes to what the Thunder are looking forward to him, they understand that he can be their leader and can be like I said, a 1A player in the NBA. Again, we will keep saying he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA. Like that has been the case for at least the last 3 years right now. And I don't think anything's going to change with that. So with Oladipo coming in line, and as Kanter now the opportunity to play some more minutes, with Ibaka also being out, Steven Adams also coming to his own, another year older. I think all those guys are going to be looking to Russ to really lead them and see how far they can get in the Western Conference.
Does it make it seem like the move to send Ibaka off, though, seem like it may have been still in haste?
I mean, I don't know. I think, when we discussed the initial trade, it was really they were trying to potentially prepare if Durant were to leave, bringing in another guy who could be at least a superstar-ish type level player in Victor Oladipo, and it was going to cost him. Ibaka was probably going to leave after the end of the season as well anyway. It just felt like, hey, they felt like maybe Kanter could play a little bit more. One of the things that we do have to give them credit for was in the playoffs, they played that Kanter and Adams lineup a lot, and maybe they decided, you know what? Hey, it's not that bad. We can get away with it at times. And that made, although Ibaka did have some nice moments in the playoffs, they just felt like maybe this is a situation that, we didn't think it was something that could work, but we've seen that it can. So maybe it's something that we want to try to move forward with, coming into next season. And Ibaka can get us somebody else and help us out at a position that we do need, a la the shooting guard, and a la bring in Victor Oladipo. Again, Durant ends up leaving and creating another hole at the 3 position. But I do feel like the Ibaka move was made with the intention of mind of twofold: trying to make your team better in the here and now if Durant were to stay, and if something crazy were to happen like Durant leaving, you still have another guy who could potentially be a superstar down the line.
All right, with that being said, Shaw, and this is the final perspective to be given, everybody knows that now you have to look at the shooting for the Oklahoma City Thunder because a big hit ultimately is taken. We know that Russell Westbrook is not he's improved. He's not a great knockdown shooter. He's not a great 3-point shooter, but clearly between him and Oladipo, they're going to have to take up shots, or else it's going to be way too easy to just assume that these guys are going to be able to drive down the lane, which those guys love to do. They love to drive, penetrate, and kick. So with that being said, how much confidence do you see an overall improvement in either one of these guys really shooting the basketball for this season well in order for Billy Donovan to sell the idea of how he's formulating this team?
Well, I'm sure that's what they're working on together, in the summer and in their chemistry, and, maybe even doing some crazy, 1-2 pick and rolls, if you will. And Oladipo having to become a guy who can, hit that mid-range shot and maybe extend out to the 3 a little bit. I think a guy who we already mentioned is going to be very important for them now is Ilyasova. He was, for lack of a better phrase, people consider a throw-in in the trade. With trading Ibaka away and getting Oladipo, Ilyasova is a guy who can space the floor. He can shoot 40% from the 3-point line and do so on a regular basis. So I think those are where they're going to be looking, or that's where they're going to be looking to get the 3-point shooting from. Obviously, Singler is a guy who's still been there, but hasn't really provided much. Morrow, for whatever reason, hasn't really been providing much in the last couple of seasons after starting off his career, as a knockdown 3-point shoot guy. That just might be an area that they need to try to figure out as they go into training camp. Maybe somebody emerges, or maybe they try to make some sort of late signing. But it really is going to be about the ball domination of Westbrook and Oladipo. Can they create shots that can just get other people open? And maybe it's not always a 3-point shot, but is it just wide open jumpers? And Kanter can pick and pop and hit jumpers as well too. So I think that's where they're going to try to get their spacing from. Trying to get the ball movement going, and hopefully Ilyasova and guys like Kanter can knock down those mid-range jumpers and some of the 3-point shots when it comes to Ilyasova.
All right, well, it's definitely going to be an interesting season. Everybody's already marking out their territory about the war between the Warriors, Kevin Durant, OKC Thunder with Russell Westbrook. But I think more so what we really should be focusing on is 2 iconic basketball players, top 5 basketball players, feeling like the decisions that they've made are the best decisions for continuing their basketball careers and hopefully ascension to attaining the ultimate goal, which is winning an NBA championship. And Russell Westbrook deciding to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm sure the Oklahoma City Thunder fan base is ecstatic and cannot wait for the season to already unfold. You're tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. And this was The Breakdown. Time now for The Drop. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw, The Baseline NBA podcast. And this week, man, we have a great guest on board with us. If there's one person, man, who can at least say he's been balling it out for 2 years straight, It's got to be out there in the Bay. He is one of the best DJs, is doing his thing. He is the official DJ for the former world champion Golden State Warriors. It's DJ D Sharp. Mr. Sharp, thank you for joining us this week here on the Baseline NBA podcast.
Yo, what's happening, man? What's going down?
DJ D Sharp, man, listen, I know you're making waves out there, but probably the biggest noise that's being made is the femur that is happening out in the Bay Area, the excitement that this Golden State Warriors team has been doing over the last 4 years, I want to say, has been outstanding and impressive. And the first thing I want to know, though, is as a DJ, where are your grassroots? How did you come up? What made you want to spin music, get the people moving and rocking, and really through the form of DJing, channel the word of your talents out there? How did this begin for you?
Well, it started very young for me, man. My mom had a boyfriend who was a DJ, Nate Copeland. He was from the New York area, so he would bring like DJ Red Alert tapes back to Oakland whenever he would travel back and forth. So then I used to listen to those tapes, and I used to just be mesmerized by the music and how like Red would just cut back and forth the records and stuff like that, and he'd just keep bringing them back. It was records that were familiar to me, and I was like, how's he doing that? And then I would see my mom's boyfriend, he was doing it, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And then I just started scratching on my mom's turntable, and then it just started from there.
I mean, I think that's a great segue into kind of, where you are currently right now. So as you've worked up the ranks and fell in love with music and being a DJ, how long have you actually been with the Warriors organization, and how did that specific job come to pass for you?
Well, I've been with the Warriors for 4 years. So pretty much when they started the transition into becoming a better team than they have been the previous years.
You can be a little bit. You can boast a little bit better than that now. A powerhouse. 4 years of NBA power. I mean, they were a Cinderella team when they tried to knock off the San Antonio Spurs. But I mean, legitimately, this team is a powerhouse basketball team, and this is even before they went ahead and made some big noise in this offseason getting Kevin Durant.
Nah, I mean, we'll get back to where in terms of me, like how I became the DJ there. But I always tell cats, man, in a lot of the interviews I've been doing, I think it started with Mark Jackson in terms of the way that he just shaped the camaraderie between the guys. You know what I mean? Like, I was hearing that, they were going to church with him. They were, you know what I mean? Like, they really looked up to him. And I think, that chemistry is what led those guys to that championship. Them brothers just love to play basketball together. They just love to be around each other. And I think that's really what sparked it. You know what I mean? So, but I got the gig because it's a bittersweet situation. But the guy before me was a DJ by the name of DJ Solomon, and I used to DJ for this group called Black Alicious.
I remember Black Alicious, yeah.
You remember Black Alicious, right?
Yeah, so definitely.
During the NBA Finals, their biggest hit or biggest record is a joint called Alphabet Aerobic. And they just did a commercial for the Bleacher Report.
Right.
People might be familiar with. It's the record that speeds up, and it's like it's animated. It's an animated commercial that they were running during the finals. Anyway, I used to DJ for those guys. I toured with them. It was the first time I ever went to Europe and around the world. So props to them for that. But we were doing a show here in San Francisco at a spot called the Justice League, which is now called, what's the Justice League called now? Justice League is called the Independent, yeah. So anyway, Solomon was in the crowd, and he was like, yo, he came up to me after the set, and he was like, yo, I DJ for the Warriors, man. I would love for you to come through, and we could do a 2x4 set. And, you know what I mean? If you down, man, I'd love to have you. And I was like, yeah, because I'm a Warrior fan. I'm like, for sure. So I go and I do the 2x4 set, and me and him, we developed this relationship on a DJ tip. This is like, it was dope. Like, this was before Serato and before the DJing with computers and stuff. So Solomon introduced me to all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Because he was doing it way back then. But he was a DJ for them, I want to say from like 99 till about 2012. Like he DJed for them for a long time. And what Solomon used to do is he used to give cats, he had a list of DJs on an email list, and I would always be the first one to respond. So I started doing a lot of the games he couldn't do. So then I became kind of the official second DJ. You know what I mean? But then in 2012, Solomon passed away. So then when he passed away, they offered me the job.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful. That's very powerful. DJ D Sharp joining us here, official DJ for the Golden State Warriors here on the Baseline NBA podcast. And really to follow up on this point, because like you said, it is bittersweet, and clearly the organization as a whole has so much confidence in you rocking the crowd. And let's not make this nice. Golden State, Oracle, right? And they'll be getting themselves a new facility, which I know you're excited to see happen very shortly, very soon. But the crowd fanfare right now is amongst the best in the NBA at a time where we're almost ready to start throwing out the notion that Golden State is considered like a small market team with the way that the NBA free agency is shaping the form and how money is being thrown around. And to me, what I want to know from you is, man, how big is the expectations for you to maintain that level on a nightly basis? These home games that are being played, so much talk has been said about how Golden State as a home arena is havoc. It's crazy. It rivals amongst any of the other teams that's out there in the NBA. Mm-hmm. What's that like for you to get that kind of accolade, given that before this was a team on the map, a blip on the map in California that people at times didn't even recognize had a basketball team? Right.
No, that's real. And I think that's the reason why we're gearing up for this move to San Francisco. You know what I mean? So San Francisco is a metropolitan city. It's on the map. It's on the world map. And I think that's what the ownership is going for in terms of that. You know what I mean? Because they could have easily put that arena in Oakland, but I feel like San Francisco is just a bigger market, right? So it attracts, like you say, more free agency, and it's like it just attracts more revenue, and like it's just a bigger, better thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I tell you, man, talking to people here in the Bay Area, like Oracle is just it's a magical place when the Warriors are playing. You know what I mean? And it's just like, when I've been talking to people about the move, everyone is concerned about losing that electricity, that magical, just when you go into that arena, the electricity, like everyone is concerned because they're like, well, we're going to get priced out. You know what I mean? We're going to be, the seats aren't going to be affordable anymore. And like the real fans won't be able to go and enjoy to enjoy the game anymore. And it won't be as electric and it won't be as turned up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you won't have like the real genuine fans in there. You know what I mean? So that's a concern, man. A lot of people talking here in the Bay, like we may lose a little bit of that, but we won't know until we get in the building. You know what I mean?
And that would definitely be unfortunate. But I mean, I feel like there's, without a question, you are a part of, helping that electricity and helping that vibe and making sure that whoever's there can kind of get involved and make sure that they feel it, along with, some of the other in-game entertainment and things like that as well, too. So a question I have for you, though, is there any type of, I'm big into competition. We're into sports, obviously. So I'm in the South Florida area. The Heat are not my favorite team, but I've been around the Heat for a very long time. And seeing a guy like DJ Irie do his thing, in the arena. Yeah, go ahead.
I just saw Irie in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, I was in Vegas DJing and I saw Irie, and I ran up on him. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? It's D Sharp from the Golden State Warriors. And he stopped and he's like, yo. And he just like hugged me and he was like, good job, man. Right?
I think that answered your question there, Shaw.
Right. Because, I do want to know if there is any type of beef or with the camaraderie.
No, we good, man. We good. Like that guy's a pioneer for for NBA DJs. You know what I mean? Like 2 championships over there, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they got 3. They got 3.
They got 3. Oh, okay. Excuse me. But, 3 championships with them. He's like I said, man, he's a pioneer in this, man. And just like, I mean, to be honest, man, I mean, I would love for my career to mirror his. You know what I mean?
Mm.
In all honesty, like he's just a good dude in terms of like when you look at him online and you just look at his image and his brand,
mm-hmm.
it speaks volumes. You know what I mean? So when I ran up on him, I didn't even know that he would know who I was. You know what I mean? And then he just embraced me. He was like, yo, good job, man. He was like, I have friends that go to games and they tell me how just incredible the music is and they just love you, man. So props. And then we just left it at that. But he's a good dude, man.
DJ D Sharp joining us here. Be sure to check him out on Instagram, available on Twitter at DJ D Sharp. DJ, and I feel like it sometimes even being called, like, it's classic when we use the word DJ, but is there, in the context of what you're just talking about right now, as being
mm-hmm.
the DJ and you're facilitating what people who come to these Warrior games do, and they feel like you're a part of the family. There's no question, right? How different is that from being a DJ who goes out, to venues and gets parties turned up, to sports fans who come to see a basketball game, one, obviously, but there's obviously an entertainment factor that's important to it, keeping the fans energized, entertained, win, lose, or draw when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. How different is that for you to make those type of transitions in your DJing career so far? Well,
when you're in an arena, it's just so many different people, right? And it's just a real diverse, it's a diverse crowd, and you have to play with the genres, man. You have to go all over the place in the arena. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to do. Like, I compare my sets to like doing, like, I don't know if you guys ever witnessed like the Red Bull 3-style.
Yeah, definitely.
Competition.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that. Like you have to do like all of these genres and combine them into a minute and a half or 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's fun because, granted, I do have certain routines that I do every night, but it's always fun to go in my studio and make up something new. You know what I mean? Or make up something as I'm at the game, which I do a lot. But in the clubs, it's totally different because in the clubs, people go to the clubs to turn up, and, you got club music that they want to turn up to, right? So, people go to certain music they pop bottles to, certain music that they get a mood to, certain music that's right for that environment. And it's the same for the arena. But then I also don't try to be that arena guy, that arena music. You know what I mean? Like just the classic arena. Like I try to mix it up as much as I can. But that stuff always is they're always fan favorites when it comes to the arena music. You know what I mean? They love certain songs, so you got to play them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, sure, man, it's. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because I think you're obviously out west, and the Bay Area has its own sound. So how much of that are you able to integrate specifically, into that arena, into the crowd that comes there? Because Oakland, and California itself is obviously very, very diverse, but the Bay Area definitely has a sound. So how often do you get to integrate that specifically into what you do on a nightly basis?
Oh, all the time, man. All the time. The fans love, from Vallejo, Mac Dre, E40, and now Nesta Pharaoh play a lot of their music. Here in Oakland, Mr. Fab, Too Short, you know what I mean? Even classic Drew Down records and Loonies, I Got 5 on it. Like, it's a hit. You know what I mean? Just playing just classic Bay Area music because the fans love it. I mean, I'll walk through the arena and I'll get, yo, you got to drop that Mac Dre. Yo, you got to drop that E40. What's up, man? Let's get some Too Short. You know what I mean? Like, the fans love it. So it's I incorporate Bay music all day, every day, man.
DJ D Sharp joining us here, available on Facebook, Instagram. Catch his handle at DJ D Sharp. D, man, obviously, we wanted to make sure that we allow you to kind of give people a taste of what it's like to be the official DJ for a professional basketball organization. I want to talk about your fandom for the Golden State Warriors. And, obviously this is what has clearly been a historic season in the best and the worst of ways. What was it like? What was it like that Game 7 from your eyes, sitting up over the top? I don't want to try to say I want you to relive the bad about it, but I want to get your feel.
Man,
as a sports fan, how is that? How anxious were you about wanting this season to start already?
Well, first of all, I still can't believe we got KD. Like I still can't believe that. That actually made up for Game 7 and not winning the championship a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But being in that arena, man, and watching them guys win the championship on our floor was horrid, man. It really was a surreal moment when the buzzer. It was like the buzzer went off and everything just stopped and remained. It was like a movie. It just stopped and.
Oh man! And that horn just fading, man. Just dying out like real slow. Like
oh my God! And it just felt like somebody died in there, dog. That's the best way I could describe it. Like it hurt. It really hurt, man. And I was packing up, and you got the commissioner giving, about to announce, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. And props to them, man. They deserved it. They got it. And Cleveland has a great team. LeBron is a beast. You can't deny that. But I think Game 5, that whole
losing Draymond
situation,
Green, yeah,
it just turned the tables, man. We had that. We had it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could have a complete conversation. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even when we get closer to the season, when we start doing our previews, we'd love to be able to get you on and we can discuss that part of it. The Warriors had this series, no question. I mean, it's more than just about being up 3-1. I just felt like even at Game 5, not having Draymond, the Warriors had that game. But that's something, for another conversation. When it to me, the fact that, and let me put this out here real quick, Shaw, as I'm saying this about the Golden State Warriors. You guys are a class crowd. Many other, you never know what the climate is like when a team wins on your home floor. Okay. There are some organizations and some crowds that just don't know how to handle themselves, get uncontrollable. You'll see reports of violence happening at certain games. I mean, we've seen that, especially in other sports genres. But the Warriors fans, despite watching what happened and despite feeling that loss, still handled themselves with so much class. And I wanted to give props for that, because in a time when fandom can get out of hand, and a classic Game 7, which will go down in the NBA Heralds as being one of the best games ever played of a Game 7, and all that to happen, I got to give the Golden State fan base so much props for handling it with such utter class and giving the Cavaliers their just due winning that championship.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt, man. They at the end of the day, they got it. You know what I mean? And they proved they were the better team. So it is what it is, and we'll be back, next year,
No doubt about that, DJ D Sharp. So I wanted to ask you a couple other questions regarding, the music that the players themselves like. And now, obviously, getting a guy like Kevin Durant coming in, how much homework do you have to do, in terms of his musical taste and things that he may like when it comes to things that he may want to hear pregame, or kind of, if he does something that's outstanding, like he does a crazy dunk or a three or something like that, what kind of music and drops do you guys get to play? What are some of the musical tastes that the players of the Warriors may have?
I mean, the players, they just really love, new hip hop, man. Just keep it new and fresh. You know what I mean? everyone, everyone has different tastes. You know, there's certain guys who love EDM. There's certain guys who love, like for instance, Steph. Steph is a big, what's my man, the Christian rapper dude?
Lecrae?
I can't. Lecrae, yeah. Steph loves him. He loves Lecrae. Steph has walked over to me before and requested Lupe Fiasco. You know what I mean? And I was surprised about that because Lupe is a spitter. You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, play some Lupe. I was like, all right, cool, I got you. You know what I mean? So, and then you got Draymond, who just turns up. He wants to everything is
them Saginaw boys. Huh? I said them Saginaw boys out in Michigan.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, he just turns up. So anything, you know what I mean, he'll all of Drake, Future, you know what I mean? He just turns up to, you know, to all of that stuff, man. Little Uzi, like he's like hip to everything that drops and everything is new. So, you know, in terms of KD, I know KD is a rapper himself. You know, I've done a little bit of homework on him and who we rock with. And, you know, if I did see him at a Nike event, but we didn't get a chance to talk. But, you know, anytime I see the players, I'm like, yo, let me know what it is that I can do to make it easier for you. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, yo, keep doing you, dog. You're doing a great job. Don't worry. You know what I mean? So that's always a good feeling to get from the guys. You know what I mean?
Definitely. DJ D Sharp joining us here. DJ, D, let me, a few more questions before, we let you ride out into the Bay Area sunset. First things first, man, for you as a DJ, what are your expectations for this upcoming season? 73, 74 wins. I mean, complete undefeated. Like, what is the goal as the home resident DJ? Because I know a lot of people, now we talk about, forget the Chicago Bulls and what they achieved and everything like that. I would think that as the resident DJ, he would like to be to say, I want to be the guy that's responsible for our team winning all of the home games. 41 home games. We 41 and 0. Can nobody do it better than how we do it?
Right. Right. I would love to be, you know what I mean? And it's always funny, like if we lose a home game, I feel bad. I'll be like, damn, maybe I should have played this. Or maybe you know what I mean? I'll be like, damn, I put it on myself. You know what I mean? But nah, man, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see the chemistry between these guys going into the next season. I don't think we're going to come out like we did last year, man, to be honest with you. I don't think there's going to be emphasis on so much the regular season as the postseason. Okay. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see us working out the kinks as we go along and not really putting the emphasis on the regular season record this year. You know what I mean? Like, we've already surpassed the Bulls. It's done. That's in the history books. A championship with that would have been great and just would have been awesome. But we got that. So it's like, I don't think they're going to focus on that. I think they're going to focus on keeping guys healthy through the season and then in the postseason just dominating.
Makes a lot of sense to me, DJ. And I wanted to ask you before we let you get out of here is, what's next for you? Obviously, you're going to be there, rocking out with the Warriors and that great home arena.
Yes, sir.
And doing your thing.
Yes, sir.
What's next for you off the court, if you will, and some of the other projects that our fans and listeners can catch up with you on?
Well, right now I am working on like a EP. I got a lot of songs, so I don't know if it's going to be an EP or album, but I'm working right now on that, and I want to get it out just like right before the season starts, so that I'm not working on it while the season is here. But I'm doing that. I'm doing a lot of DJing. There's talks about a trip to Asia sometime in October, and Hawaii in October. Hopefully more trips to Vegas. I just got back from Vegas, in LA doing stuff. So I'm doing more traveling. and just just vibing out, man, and trying to push the DJ culture forward, man, because it sucks right now. I'm gonna keep it real.
Put it bluntly.
Because everybody, you got all of these new DJs with all of these controllers and a laptop and their MP3s, and they think they DJs and they're not. You know what I mean? And then you get promoters. You get promoters who book these kids because they don't charge them anything. You know what I mean? Because they may have 10,000 followers on Instagram. The promoter's like, oh, well, I can get this guy and he could come in and he could DJ. But then the guy is messing up your vibe of your party. You know what I mean? So my thing is I'm trying to keep the vibe going strong in parties. You know what I mean? Controlling the room, making people have a good time. You know what I mean? Just based off the music and the energy. Same thing I do in the arena. Like just controlling the atmosphere. The new DJs don't do that. And I want to teach them that if I can, man. Somehow, some way. Like that's I had an epiphany this past week. I was like, I got to do that. Like I can't just let DJing fall like this. It can't. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, technology is dope, and I embrace it, man. Serato is the best invention created since the car and the airplane. Like it's crazy, but it also has its flaws in that it's easy and anybody can try to do it and say that they're a DJ once they look at the program. It's like, oh, that's all I got to do. And just so I'm trying to just keep DJing alive, if you will, man, as much as I can.
From the rooter to the tutor, you can catch him on Instagram. He's available on Twitter. He's on Facebook. And listen, your Twitter handle, your Twitter profile says it all, Oakland/worldwide. And I think that's what the expectations are going to be for DJ D Sharp. Be sure to check him out at DJ D Sharp. D, man, we so much appreciate you taking some time to hop on board with us. So hopefully at some point, man, when you start marking down all of these trips that you've taken, you make a pit stop either down in Fort Lauderdale or up here in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? We got some people out here who would definitely love to roll out the red carpet and welcome your DJ skills and basically bless the crowd with what is just obviously a vibe that is unmatched out there in the Bay Area, which is only and can only be sparked by yourself, sir.
Man, I'd love to, man. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me, man. That's a blessing. And, thanks again, bro.
Well, we hopefully will look to get you back on here soon, but we want to wish you the best of success, especially with this upcoming season, not just as the official DJ for the Warriors, but also with your ventures that you got ready to pop off in the coming months, man. So thank you so much for hopping on board with us.
Thank you, guys. I can't thank you enough, man. It's been great.
All right, you're tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee, Warren Shaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA, and this was The Drop.
Coast to coast.
Time now to go coast to coast discussing the news in the association. You ready to rock and roll, Mr. Shaw?
Absolutely, man. Let's ride.
All right. The National Basketball Players Association have announced their awards via Twitter. These guys are really embracing the social mediaism.
Well, I think it's better than the production that they had last year, having it out in Las Vegas and, having a whole award show that was a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy. So they decided to scale it back a little bit and just go, the social media route, which was cool. No major surprises. Paul George won, I think, comeback player of the year. Steph Curry actually won the MVP this year instead of James Harden. LeBron James winning a couple of the awards as well. Greg Popovich, the coach most want to play for, all of that stuff. So very nice job by the National Basketball Players Association and definitely toning it down a bit from last year.
Yeah, and I think that there's other applications and mediums available. The National Basketball Players Association has done an excellent job of helping their athletes be able to kind of infuse themselves in the not just the social media market, but also in the app technology field. And so expect a lot of ventures ahead where this might actually hit the reset button, and this award show might be done on a better scale than trying to magnify it in the same way that they do the ESPYs and the Tonys and all these other big major awards. Amari Stoudemire, he is announcing his retirement in the NBA. And then he's deciding to go play for Israel. I mean, talk about a holy journey. What is this?
Yeah, Amari, definitely has those roots, if you will, and he's already signed his deal and is going to be there for the next 2 years. So salute to him on a magnificent career in the NBA. A little surprised. I mean, we're a little late getting to the news as we took a week off, but a little surprised he's doing this, retiring as a Knick and not as a Phoenix Sun. That just kind of show you where things kind of left off with him as he left that organization. But again, he's going to continue his career, out in Israel, and we wish him all the best.
All right, and talk about some teams like taking, teams, but players making some interesting decisions. Steven Jackson, Derek Fisher, and even Ray Allen have been really seriously contemplating about making a comeback into the NBA. Which player, Shaw, do you feel like has the best opportunity to find himself making a significant contribution in their comeback?
Well, it would be the player that is the best of those three and is obviously going to the Hall of Fame. I can't say that Derek Fisher or Steven Jackson are going to the Hall of Fame. So Ray Allen is, to me, probably because he provides the one thing that the NBA always loves and always needs, especially in this time and era, is shooting. So yeah, he'll be 40 or 41 going into next season, but he can still knock it down. Ray Allen keeps himself in great shape. If he were to come back, he's saying he's rumored to go back to one of his old stomping grounds in Milwaukee or Boston. We'll see if either one of those are the case. I know both teams can use him, when it comes to the shooting aspect of things, but he's not going to be guys can play 25, even 20 minutes a game. He'll probably play 15 minutes or so, maybe hit down 2 threes, and that's it. But I think Steven Jackson is the guy who thinks he's the most confident about his return. Derek Fisher is somewhere in the middle of those three.
Oozing with confidence. I'm a little down about this decision by Steven Jackson. I was so getting used to him and that combo with him and Rachel Nichols.
He said he has a deal in place. So that's what, he said he has something in place that he's coming back. So he already knows it's like a done deal. So we'll see what happens. That's what he said.
Happy, joy.
Right?
I'd like to see Rachel back with the NBA on TNT. I'm sorry. It's just they keep putting her with these combinations of guys, man. She's just holding them up, man. She's holding them up. It's just, oh my goodness. All right, finally, Shaw, and a little comedy relief there too. So speaking of comedy relief, our man Blake Griffin, BG. He's doing it big out there in Montreal. The Canadians out there loving them some BG on the comedy circuit. What?
Man, if you saw that clip, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check it out. He's basically the clip that they show, and if you can still find it, because he went around taking it down off of, all social media outlets, same for copyright infringement. But he's basically telling the story of in his rookie year how he, kind of betted a stripper in a strip club, and how that all went down for him. And just how surprised he was and all of that. And it's a really, really awkward story, but it is kind of funny, especially coming from the source, if you will. So definitely check that out. But Blake Griffin taking his talents off the basketball floor and starting his career in comedy is again, I think it's a great way to end our show, if you will.
Taking his talents, completely, man. You saw that Kia commercial where he was throwing that thundercloud out there talking about making it rain out there in Montreal, boy, I tell you. So big up to Blake Griffin, though. Clearly, he might find his second calling once his NBA career is finally complete. But I know he's got some unfinished business to do. He got to help Doc Rivers get that championship out there in LA. So he got some business to do. He can joke around for now, but he's got some serious work to handle ahead of him. But awesome show altogether, Shaw. Really excellent having the conversation about Russell Westbrook, the impact of his contract extension with the Thunder. And what a remarkable interview with DJ D Sharp, the official DJ for the Golden State Warriors, man. Just phenomenal, where his grassroots came from, what he's been doing, and what he continues to do for really one of the most feverish fan bases that the NBA has going right now.
Yeah, again, it's great to be able to bring some alternate stuff to our show and to our fans and listeners on a regular basis, and getting a guy like DJ D Sharp to come in here and discuss the DJ industry, not even just what he does, in Golden State and and for the Warriors, if you will, just what his whole thoughts on the music industry are and where the DJ job, if you will, is going, and how he wants to make sure that authenticity comes back to the profession. And, I really salute and applaud him, for having that mind state and wanting to do just that. And again, thank you all for listening and tuning in as it's the off season. So we definitely got to bring something different, and we'll see what we got for you guys next week.
Most definitely. And once again, man, we'd like to thank you and yours for tuning in, continuing to show the love and support for the Baseline NBA podcast. And just as a friendly reminder to those who are interested in getting their favorite NBA team's merchandise delivered to their doorstep, you want to go to www.fanessentials.net to get all of the latest upcoming gear to get you prepped up and ready for this upcoming NBA season. They find the sports gear so you don't have to. The prices start at $14.99 and $34.99. But if you visit fanessentials.net and you sign on board, use the promo code BASELINE, NBA Baseline. I'm sorry, Baseline, right? Use the promo code BASELINE. The checkout is 30% off on your first month. So be sure to go to fanessentials.net, use our promo code, and get yourself a great big discount and get yourself ready for this fabulous, exciting NBA season that we have been discussing at length through the offseason at this point. Once again, we'd like to thank our man DJ D Sharp for hopping on board with us. My man Shaw and we salute you and yours for continuing to tune in and support the Baseline. For the Baseline, Cal Lee Warren Shaw, we appreciate you guys, and we'll catch up with you next time.